For months I've been waiting for certainty, waiting for a sign, waiting to finally feel ready to make one decision. Whether to keep the house or to leave it and move back into the van. And if you're wondering why that's even a difficult decision, I promise you it hasn't been about the van. It's been about everything. Because the truth is, I've been terrified of making the biggest mistake of my life. Hi, I'm Danielle. Welcome to the Wildlight Way. This channel is where I share my journey of creating a slower, more intentional life through motherhood, nature, and learning to build a life that feels true, even when I don't have all of the answers. To understand why this decision has been so difficult, I need to take you back. Before we went travelling around Europe, we actually got this van a day before we left the old house. So unlike a lot of van lifers, we didn't end up spending months converting it. We didn't even have a finished home on wheels. We had a van. We packed everything into it, left, and figured we'd work it out on the rest of our travels. At first, it was incredible. We travelled through France, Spain, and Portugal. We woke up beside mountains, walked through the forests, watched the sunsets, found places I'd dreamed about for years. It honestly felt like freedom. But as the months went on, living in an unfinished van slowly started catching up with me. Not because I stopped loving the lifestyle, but because everyday life became harder than it needed to be. We didn't have proper insulation, we didn't have a proper toilet or storage, the bed wasn't right, everything had to be moved around constantly. The little things started becoming big things, and eventually I became exhausted. So when we came back, I genuinely believed I knew the answer was to get a house, because I'd convinced myself that stability was a building, especially as a mum. I thought maybe Lucas needed more of a normal life, maybe the dream wasn't realistic, and maybe I'd just been chasing something that was impossible. So we got the house, and honestly at first it felt amazing. A hot shower, a proper bed and space. A comfort, everything I had been craving. I thought, yes, this is it. I finally figured it out. But then something happened that completely confused me. After I had rested, literally within about 4 weeks, I wasn't happier. I actually became quite depressed. Not because there was anything wrong with the house, because there wasn't. I was incredibly grateful for it. But something inside of me felt like I had gone quiet, then frustrated. Because I couldn't understand why I wasn't happy. I'd got exactly what I told myself I needed, so why did this still feel like something was missing? Then something even stranger happened. Without really meaning to, I slowly started living back in the van. I spent most of my time travelling, sleeping in the van, exploring, making memories. Then I'd drive home, I'd use the shower, I'd fill up the water, store some things, and then leave again. One day I realised something that made me laugh. I wasn't really living in the house. I was basically paying for a very expensive shower and storage unit, and I kept wondering, why can't I just decide? Over the last few days, everything has started to make sense, not because somebody told me what to do, but because I finally realised I'd been blaming the wrong thing. I kept saying maybe van life isn't sustainable, but actually it wasn't van life that wasn't sustainable. It was trying to live in a van that wasn't finished. There's a huge difference, because what I actually needed wasn't a house, it was comfort. And for months I've been confusing those two things. If the van had proper insulation, a high-up bed with the dogs having their own separate area, heating for the winter, storage that actually worked, the very things that made me run back to the house would have been solved. The house wasn't solving my dream, it was solving the symptoms. Then Lucas reminded me of something I'd completely missed. We'd been out in nature all morning, walking, playing, collecting blackberries. He got tired and said, "Mummy, house now." Immediately I thought, see, he wants the house too. So I picked him up and gave him a cuddle, then asked him, "Do you still want to go home?" He smiled, looked at me and said, "In van, in van." Later, I actually took him back to the house, and he stood by the door trying to pull me outside, repeating, "In van, in van." He actually had a tantrum about going in the van. And that's when something clicked. Maybe home had never been the building. Maybe it was the life we were living. Today, the biggest lesson finally landed. This whole time I thought I was afraid of choosing the van. I wasn't. I was afraid of trusting myself. I kept looking for certainty, wanting someone or something to tell me exactly what to do, but certainty never came. Instead, life kept asking me, do you trust yourself enough to take the next step anyway? The van isn't actually the dream. The dream is freedom, is presence. The dream is financial independence. The dream is building work that genuinely helps people. The dream is giving Lucas a childhood filled with nature, adventure and connection. The van is simply the tool that helps us build that life. Maybe I'll get this wrong. Maybe things won't unfold exactly how I imagine. I honestly don't know. And for the first time, I'm starting to realise that that's okay. Because 5 years from now, I don't want to look back and wonder what would have happened if I had trusted myself. I'd rather try, learn, adapt and grow, than spend the rest of my life wondering maybe the lesson wasn't to wait until I felt certain. Maybe the lesson was learning to walk before certainty arrived. Thank you so much for watching. I genuinely love to know, have you ever been stuck waiting for certainty before making a big decision? Or have you realised, like I have, that sometimes certainty never comes and all we can really do is take the next step with honesty, courage and trust? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. If you've enjoyed, follow our journey of creating a slower, more intentional life through motherhood, nature and everything we're learning along the way. Don't forget to like, subscribe and come along for the journey. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.